Здрасте. Здрасте, здрасте, здрасте.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he sat at his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor.
1 second. Что происходит? Почему? Странный захват, ну ладно. Сейчас должно быть все четенько.
Him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Такая есть. Есть extras, achievement saves. Что значит saves выключено? Нету этих субтитров нет. Ну, ладно. Понятно, начало управления. Будем разбираться методом тыка. Что происходит на кнопку мыши? Привет.
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ага, прикольно. Короче, когда не знаешь, что делать, он тебе подсказывает. Внутренний голос, или как его обозвать. Он говорит, что типа Стэнли заметил, что типа все свинтили.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Это одновременно...
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Прикольно, что подача типа такая от рассказчика, и он одновременно комментирует действия. Ну, типа, вот я выключил компьютер, и этот голос сказал, что Стэнли начал общупывать каждую мелкую деталь в офисе. Вот, и то, что подсказка отправится в митинг-рум, это тоже прикольно. Выключим этот комп. Ща.
Stanley stood for a long time in one spot. It's part of a game. He likes to see how long he can go without dying. So far, he's doing excellent. And if he just stays right where he is, I'm sure he'll keep up that good momentum. Let's observe the genius at work.
И надо идти в митинг-рум. Прыгать нельзя. Вообще никого нету. Кружка с надписью I hate Monday. Ненавижу понедельники. Это немного похоже на
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
В общем, это неправильная дорога. Интересно, циферки что-нибудь обозначают? На дверях, в смысле.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Короче, Стэнли, я так понял, кайфовал в этой комнате.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy. and reflected poorly on his overall personality. But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Прикольно, все прям комментирует. Короче, Стэнли кайфовал в этой комнате, а сейчас, когда нету работников, тем более. Но типа Стэнли решил вернуться к делам. Что-то мне этот коридор не нравится. Куда пойти? Здесь можно пошариться. Здесь тоже можно пошариться. Прикольно.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Можно куда-то спуститься, можно выйти. Что делать-то непонятно на самом деле. Новая локация.
He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Это прикольно.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Это прикольно, да. Диктор прям все рассказывает, и он как будто бы одновременно диктор и одновременно бог и рассказчик истории. Оу. Так, 627, 427.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to go back to, oh, who am I kidding?
Говорит, что это спойлер.
The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Оу. Короче, я попал в комнату, в которую не должен был заходить. Поэтому этот чел говорит, все не так и все не то. Короче, go рестартанем игру. И прям то же самое, но комп уже выключен. Не этот комп, вот этот комп. Он включен, то есть это полный рестарт, если что. Прям рестарт. Ладно. Интересно, сколько таких рестартов еще в игре есть. Бегать нельзя. Так. Двери не открыты.
Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay,
в общем, диктор говорит, что сначала спрашивает Стэнли, типа, ты что-то поменял, что ли? А потом такой, погодите, зачем я тебя спрашиваю? Вообще-то это я автор истории, поэтому я должен сам решать. Такой, открыл все двери. Так, здесь есть интересная картина. И здесь есть интересная картина, и это вообще одно помещение. И здесь тоже похоже на одно помещение. Там вот что-то есть. Так, направо мы ходили. Интересно, направо это то же самое или нет? Получается, это какой-то типа симулятор.
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I
Эй,
find it
не
unlikely
надо.
that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better
Битрейт.
than this.
Ну, у меня, может быть,
Okay, let's give it a
интернет
shot. Why not?
лагает. Что, блин? Короче, я снова на рестарте. Я снова в рестарте, потому что я зашел в дверь, которая что-то ему снова не понравилась, рассказчику. Насчет битрейта, ну я вот смотрю... ну я одновременно... Наверное, мне стоит отключить или поставить на паузу стрим на телефоне. Интересно, в чат в это время будет что-то попадать или нет? Напишите что-нибудь в чат после моих слов. Я посмотрю на телефоне, будет приходить при этом, смотря на... Короче, в чат, смотря на телефон, буду смотреть, попадает туда что-нибудь или нет. Мы снова в митинг-руме, и тут вообще в этот раз нету дверей. И он предлагает пойти обратно. Обратно, прям совсем обратно.
Ага.
Шли обратно и попали не в свою комнату, а в другую, которая вообще зациклена, видите? То есть пространство зациклено. Это прикольная фишка, я ее один раз... Точка попала. Попала, да, попала. Супер, я вижу чат. Может быть, быстрее будет стрим идти. Битрейт получше. Короче, зацикленное пространство, видите, да? Здесь выход. Вот, раз поворот, два поворот, 3 поворот, 4 поворот. И ничего нету. Интересно, он будет перезагружать меня? Вроде нет. Квадратица. Сейчас я покопаюсь в настройках. Настройки. Трансляция. Видео. Разрешение. Выходное разрешение. Фильтр масштабирования. Это тут не густо. Можно Full HD поставить, конечно. Это нельзя сделать без остановки. Трансляция. Он вообще сам... ну тут максимальный битрейт для видео 51 на 1000 стоит. Но я не знаю, какой, типа, рантайм битрейт. По настройке не могу менять. Так. Я здесь был. Возвращаемся обратно. Так, теперь попадаем на какой-то склад. Оторванные двери. Hello, world. Hello.
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that
Говорит, что это какое-то левое место, такого не должно быть.
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Конечно. Так, теперь есть подсказка, куда надо идти якобы.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Действительно. Эта дверь раньше была закрыта. Давайте выключим солитер. Не выключайся, не могу достать. Ну и хрен с ним. Интересно, можно зайти куда-нибудь в другую сторону от линии?
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story?
Последняя версия чего? Stanley Parable?
Implying a journey such that a destination is inevitable.
Переиздание. А я не знаю, я просто купил его когда-то. Stanley Parable Ультра Делюкс. Это она или нет? Крупное обновление Stanley Parable Ультра Делюкс релиз стоит. Я не знаю. Возможно, это она.
Conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself. Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience
Да, здесь
of
нельзя.
that existence.
На пробел, по крайней мере.
Okay.
Ну вот
Now,
она.
if my
You can't
experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there.
Короче, можно пойти туда. Давайте посмотрим, что будет тогда. Вот хитренькие какие. Фак. Что за музыка? А если еще раз пройти? Ничего не поменялось. Какая громкая музыка. Кто подумал сюда фонарик поставить? Для чего он там? Нельзя пройти туда. Слишком толстый. Можно сделать потише музыку? Громкость музыки. О, супер. О, субтитры можно выключить. Включите, вернее. Почему громкость музыки какая-то не стала меньше? О. Интересно, если ты зайдешь, что-нибудь поменяется? Или ничего не меняется? Ну ладно. Очень размытая надпись. Люблю такие рисуночки. Правда, они в низком разрешении. Это слишком яркая часть истории, вам не кажется? Особенно с этой музыкой. Какой экран порезан? Мой экран порезан. Он странно стримится, я его растягивал немножечко в OBS. Он как будто 4:3 стримится и помещается в квадрат 16:9. Вернее, наоборот, 16:9 помещается в квадрат 4:3. Поэтому пришлось его растягивать в OBS. Так, monthly ledgers, corporate, это всякий документ, короче. Я его растянул, но он весь захватывается. Возможно, из-за того, что я поставил в настройки 16:9, он мне в экран показывает не все. Какой папор? А вот. Это хорошо, что я включил субтитры, потому что, когда я говорю, я не слышу ни хрена, что он говорит. Соответственно, могу не сбой. Ну, он говорит, типа, запомни все мельчайших деталей. Что тут запомнить? Могу скриншот сделать. На всякий случай. Мало ли что. Вдруг что-то важное надо будет. Ну, я в следующий раз, когда буду Стэнли стримить, посмотрю, в чем дело. А то я сегодня вообще не готовился, просто запустил. И тут такая странная штука.
Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Так, ну типа я туда заходил и вернулся обратно. Прикольно. А, окей. Ну, я здесь уже был вообще-то.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Кстати, не помню. Надо запомнить номер. Номер двери, на всякий случай. Прикольно, секундная стрелка идет. 427. Когда снова раз стартанется, не спеши. В первой комнате по коробочкам залезь на стол и выйди в окно. Я так понимаю, вот в этой. А тут нету окна. Или это дальше? Тут тоже нет окна, если что.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Но тут нет коробочек. Если это про это окно имеется в виду. Потому что внутри комнаты вообще нету окон.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Да, я так понимаю, что это окна, но там нет коробок и без прыжочков никак не залезть. Снова этот запутанный лабиринт. Прикольный эффект.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it.
Я попробую. Я так понимаю, еще не раз буду возвращаться. Зовут поиграть в VR. Ну, наверное, VR. Завтра пойду.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere. which means that somewhere the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Где там время? Вперед идет. Ну, как бы он и прав, и не прав. The confusion ending. You've been playing the confusion ending 4.
The confusion ending? You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written
Да,
here
типа
on this
восьмой рестарт.
thing.
Этот голос, короче, исчезнет. И после долгого времени Стэнли умрет.
No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Просто я умру. Ну, в смысле, не я,
Okay.
персонаж.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Просто перезагрузилась, типа, независимо от чувака. И, не знаю, должно быть вот эта вот штука интерфейсная или нет.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Лезть хитрым способом
No
на
matter
стол.
how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
А тут невозможно нигде залезть. Прыжочков нету. Коробок нету. Ничего нету. Смысла жизни нет. Вот есть коробки. Но выше никак. О. Дальше нельзя пройти. Да е-мое. Дальше не получается. Как это не работает? Легко сказать. Канал. Stanley. Нормально. По-другому получилось. Ладно, в следующий раз. В следующий раз.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Так, ну направо мы ходили. Не знаю, стоит ли повторять или нет. В прошлый раз он сказал, что это неправильный путь. О, meeting
Yet
room.
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Nice to assure employees that everything's okay. Make sure your site is sleek. Blue graphic in the header. Эй, я не успеваю читать. You must have all. Everyone is unique. Большинство из вас. Money, more money. Вещи, но с деньгами, чтобы купить. На перегородке между столами. Так я на нее подняться не могу. Это в кабине директора, что ли? Он сказал, может, хочет подняться.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Точно.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Похоже,
It was
что
baffling
действительно.
that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet
В
effing.
оригинале, я так понял, прыжочки были.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Пойдем вниз.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, What a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job.
Я не иду дальше, потому что, возможно, начнется другой диалог, я хочу это дослушать.
I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Сейчас умрет от сердечного приступа.
And everything went black.
Как и обещали.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made
не в
her feel
окно он
better.
вышел, это просто
Then she
шел и
remembered
упал.
the meeting she had
Судя по
scheduled for
описанию.
that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Я так понимаю, концовка с выходом в окно примерно такая же.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Погнали.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Sick or this gag? Чем выбирать?
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
Ходить можно, то есть звуки ходьбы есть. Звуки активации. Здесь надо... Оу, я что-то нажал, понятно. Зашифтил, Что? Возвращаемся в игру. Так, сейчас, на секунду. Интересно, надо действительно выйти и перезагрузить или он сам? Ну давай еще подождем. Я не знаю, сколько надо ждать. И надо ли вообще. Да, звуки там не активация винды были звуки, а у меня, короче, есть программка скриншотер, которая скриншоты помогает делать. А у меня на обе нажатия клавиши мыши, на одновременное нажатие двух клавиш мыши срабатывает скриншот. И вот, короче, когда я нажимал всякие разные клавиши, он триггернулся. Музыка кончилась. Что-нибудь еще скажете? Я так понимаю, надо действительно нажать перезапуск. Давайте пробовать.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Так, митинг-рум. Интересно. В этот раз я попаду в митинг-рум?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Все-таки попал.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might come to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Офис босса. Какой он пошлый. Обычно в таких местах тут перезагрузки начинаются.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Очень
Shocked,
низко.
unraveled,
Это
Stanley wondered
книжки
in
с низким
disbelief
разрешением.
who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
845. Мне очень интересно, эти книги выглядят нереалистичными, потому что, во-первых, они очень похоже раскрашены, а во-вторых, они все одного размера, такого не бывает. 2845.
Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Тик-тик-тик. В темноте? Нет, ничего интересного.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Это не видно. Так лучше.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large
Mind
door
control
that read
facility.
Mind Control Facility.
Блин, там интересная штука. Там выход якобы. А там интересная штука. Выход или интересная штука? Выход или интересная штука? Выход или интересная штука? Он сказал идти туда. А там выход. Чё брешить, чё брешить? Это ли интересная штука? Но выход тоже интересно, если что. Потому что интересно, почему он туда. Ладно, пойдем. Да, я тоже думаю, интересную штуку взять. Огромная кнопка с лампочкой. Не могу приблизить, чтобы прочитать, что это за текст. Какая-то расшифровочка. На стул нельзя залезть, в отличие от офиса.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Конечно, хватит. Комната 247, по-моему. Стэнли. А вот кнопка. Камеры.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Где-то вроде бы здесь. Мне еще номера покажется? Нет? Вот. 2-4. 2-4, 2-4. Где 2-4? Нет. Ничего покажете? Супер. 2-1, 2-2, 2-4, 2-4, 2-4. Вот там. Employee 247. На ящики какие-то смотрят. Интересно, каждый раз один и тот же или нет? Да, одно и то же.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Темы оффлайн. И тут еще есть. Типа mind control offline. И так они понял, где кнопки счастья, радости. А вот. Огромная красная кнопка. Можно ее нажать, а можно не нажимать. Mind controls idle awaiting input. Ладно, пойдем нажмем красную. Красная кнопка. Чик. Она не жмется. Зачем нужна огромная красная кнопка, когда она не жмется? А вот есть огромная кнопка с цифрой 5. Нажмется, но от нее толка нету.
And And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
А я хочу включить.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than
Я
that.
вообще не знал, что
I'm
можно
afraid you don't have
контролить, просто
nearly the
думал
power you
вернуть
think you
чуваков.
do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Где 3?
Oh,
А
dear
вот
me,
3.
what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Так, я нажал все 5 кнопок.
You're in for quite a
Но все равно
disappointment.
неправильно.
But here's a
Enter
spoiler
pass
for you.
код.
That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death.
Узнать,
You're
какой
only still
пароль-то.
playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble.
Надо нажать 2.
This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
На экранах нужная кнопка свеч. Да, я это слишком поздно понял. Ну ладно, возможно, я
Stanley
попаду
had
еще
never
раз
seen the
туда.
office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Всюду бумажечки, бумажечки. Интересно, они что-нибудь значит? Но они лежат правильно. Это интересно. Они лежат под всем, но на стену они накладываются правильно. Это прикольно. Let's see.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Понимаю, эта подсказка, она для того, чтобы не заходить 2
Yet
раза
there was
в
not
ту
a
же
single
концовку.
person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might, coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Так, другой офис. Нет, не другой.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Не помню,
What could it
2845.
mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Я слишком быстро нажал правильный код, поэтому мне включили музычку, чтобы я передохнул.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Я еще раз хочу интересную штуку.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you, running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? But you really believe there's an answer? How many times will you replay this bit, looking desperately for a solution? 10? 100? 1,000? I look forward to finding out and to watching the bomb go off each time you fail. Just you and me in the retching explosion of fire and metal over and over and over for all of eternity. And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again. And Stanley died again. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Ладно, сейчас иду в листочки, абсолютно бесполезная штука была.
Finally, this is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
В общем, сейчас пойду на выход вместо этой прикольной штуки, и там после первого проигрыша, или как его назвать, после первого возвращения, закруглюсь.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walks upstairs to his boss's office.
Скрещенный с чем-то, только без врагов.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Я испортил пароль. Через что не скажет? Нет, не скажет. Так, 2, 8, 4, 5. Блин, у меня нету... Ё-моё. 2, 8, 4, 5. А! Уже было открыто, ё-моё. Ну это прикольно. Поехали. Привет, я твой единственный зритель. Нет, показывает, что целых 5.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind
Иду на
Control
выход.
Facility.
Наверное, это проигрыш, и надо все-таки ввести правильно цифры.
The truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Действительно. Ой, я приземлился и не умер.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Беда.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Кажется, убило не меня, а чувака. Но обещали выход, вот он
And yet
выход.
it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Здесь карта офиса. Вот здесь мы выходим. Идем. Вот сюда. И здесь, кажется, the two doors, да. Ясно. Первоначальный офис компьютера. Кредиты, то есть это реально выход. Но 5 вонючих цифр, которые нажимаются и не работают. The selection of the sound used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthetic tone. Что мне это дает? Maintenance room. Am I going crazy? Maybe it isn't the same image was it looked there before. Так, нам говорили папоротник запомнить. С папоротником пока ничего интересного не было. Зона войны. Early in development we designed an ending where Stanley would end up on the battlefield fighting aliens. Типа на ранней стадии разработки мы подумали, что будет круто, если Стэнли закончит на поле боя с чужаками. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. Типа война против вот этого вот рассказчика. Мы заметили that it was far too jokey and on the nose. Не знаю, как переводится one on the nose. For the tone of the game. Короче, слишком шутливо для тона игры. Some people interpret it as a making fun of people who like Twitter. Короче, некоторые люди подумали, что это чтобы завлечь, я так понимаю, игроков, которые любят шутеры, а это не наш курс. Что-то вроде комнаты разраба. Тут на самом деле история создания игры. Ну да, похоже. В окно выйти нельзя. These are screenshots of the Stanley Parable HD remix. Ну, комната разраба интересная. Я, кажется, в ней заблудился. О, это все 3 офиса. Точнее, все офисы главного героя. Причем у них разные сетапы. Здесь 1 компьютер, здесь 2 компьютера, здесь тоже 1. Но здесь ящики стоят по-разному, стол короткий. Здесь все по-разному, короче. Но вот этот, кажется, оригинальный. Как отсюда выйти? Кажется, туда. Countdown desk. Туда хочу. Туда можно попасть? Офис. Да. Часы. Их я тоже заметил. Это takes. Что-то кто-то говорит. Kevin Bright in the voice of the narrator recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly. 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. Короче, голос был перезаписан трижды за 2 года разработки. Это, и мы можем слышать здесь клипы, которые были записаны на ранней стадии, но не попали в финальную часть игры. Блин, это, конечно, прикольно, но я хочу... Пора уже закругляться. Хотелось бы с теми кнопками разобраться. О, лифт. Вот, брать. Нет, не могу.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Да выключить.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Точку.
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
Это часть игры, если что. Но как раз я хотел округлиться, начнем игру заново, и будет
This is the
скрип.
story of a man.
Интересно, насколько это заново, или тут это не считается. В общем, продолжу я в другой раз,
All of his
а на
co-workers
этом
were gone.
я
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
закругляюсь.
meeting
Так что
room.
всем
Perhaps he had
покосики.